Hello, today we're going to talk about the game WorldKiller, the game of planetary assault by SPI in 1980. So there's a couple different versions. There's what's called a capsule version, which is like half this size, and it's like a paperback book in a sleeve. This is the box version. It doesn't have any art on the back, but it's a nice art kind of describing the ships, which for some reason look like cats, and then the pilot inside. As far as theme, in 3021, the fragile peace that existed between the human race and the Ican was shattered by Iceni attacks on the frontier worlds of humankind. Ican's strategy in operations consisted largely of unsettled frontal attacks aimed at nothing short of annihilation of the target planets. The populations of two frontier worlds were totally destroyed before the others had sufficient time to develop defense fleets to respond to the alien threat. The game presents the attack on Green Dream in 3022. It's kind of setting up the premise. The first component is the rules. It's 4 pages, but it surprisingly has a lot of useful information, such a small rule book. It's got a 1-page reference sheet. The game, as we get into it, you'll see it's a XYZ motion, not just 2 dimensions, but 3. So it gives you a reference table to calculate distances, which will be useful, and talks about how you place the ships on the board and how the counters are set up and what they mean. A standard SPI dice comes with it. It doesn't in the capsule version, but it does in the box version. As far as counters, there's 100 counters. These gray ones are damage markers, which will go on ships, and we'll talk about that. These are shields for the planet. The blue are the defensive forces of the planet. These are star bases, and then these are a variety of ships. So the red are the attacking forces. Here's unique counters. The intruder ships and missiles are red, and the planetary ships and orbital fortresses are blue. And for each of them, you have the attack strength, weapon range, defense strength, jump range, and identification number and picture. For the intruder ships and missiles, you have the WorldKiller, Dominator, Smasher, Crusher missiles. Then for the planetary ships and orbital fortresses, you have the Outrider, Orbital Fortress, V-Duster, Space Train 3, Sentry 9, regular cruiser, K-Wagon light cruiser, and the Blitzrider scout vessel. Then there's also planetary shields. The final component is the map, which is 17 by 11. It's paper, it's not cardstock, and obviously it's not mounted. So I'm not super thrilled about that, but I think the artwork is very functional. But what's shown here, and we'll show it when you do the plane setup, each of these boxes is a 3-dimensional space. 0 would be in the plane, plus 1 is Z out of the plane, minus 1 is Z into the plane. And of course you have your X, Y as you move around. This is the planet. These are where the star bases are, and then we'll talk about how you set up. Like, these are the attack forces that would be here, and these are the defensive. Basic procedure: planetary player sets up the defensive player, and then the intruder sets up in the space, and they take alternating turns. Take turns moving and firing weapons from the individual ships. Alternate between ships. So the object is for the intruder to destroy the planet, and if they destroy the planet, they succeed. If they don't, then the defender wins. It's got a couple of scenarios. One is a standard where you set up, it tells you the units. The intruder comes in here, the defender sets them up anywhere they want. The bases go on these, but everything else goes wherever they want there. Gives you the numbers of units that are on the board, and then you play it through to see if you destroy the planet or not. There's one additional rule they have, that if the intruder is depleted, they can't just keep running around and staying away from the defender. At some point, the defender will win if the intruder is depleted. Otherwise, that's a kind of a safety thing, so that the game doesn't go on in that case. There's jumping, stretching, attacking, popping, and repair. Hyperspace kind of jumps on the board. Your jump distance on your counter tells you how far you can jump. And you don't have to jump that far, but that's the max you can jump in a turn. You have to determine the distance by calculating your XYZ, distance, and it's actually not too difficult to do that. You jump, and then you can also stretch. And stretch means that you basically don't move for a number of turns. And if you don't move for a couple turns or 3 turns, then you can jump further on that turn that you do move. Attacking, based on the attack and defensive strength, you take the modifier of the difference between attack and defense to your attack roll, and then you have to roll less than that to have a successful attack, and then you put damage on it. Popping means that you move and attack in the same turn, but if you do that, then you take automatic damage on your ship. And you can also repair as well. These, jumping, stretching, attacking, popping, repair, that is the core of the game. So there's a standard, there's a reinforcement which says you can randomize when other reinforcements of the defenders or attackers come on the board. And then there's other units you can use for optional rules like missile cruisers, blitz raiders, scout vessels. These are kind of optional rules. So here's the setup for this standard scenario. It defines what ships the attacker and defender have, and I use a fairly symmetrical arrangement. The attacker or the intruder sets up in this, behind these dotted lines, and anywhere in this area. I just did it kind of symmetrically. So these are the WorldKiller assault ships. These are the Dominator assault ships. And here we have the orbital fortresses, obviously the planet they're defending. These are V-Duster patrol fighters, Space Train reserve cruisers, K-Wagon light cruisers. So that's the setup. So I did a couple turns. So I'm a couple turns in, and I'll kind of show you what I found. My approach was to move the intruders in as fast as I could. Some can move 3, some can do 2, but this is where I got. And then the defenders kind of met them, and what I'm trying to do with the defenders is kind of focus fire on individual units to see what I can do there. And several have damage on them. A mechanism they use to keep track of when you've moved units. So these counters are 2-sided. After you've completed an action, you flip it over. And this is a handy reference sheet which shows that on the counters you have attack strength, your weapon range, defensive strength, and jump range. And you alternate moving and attacking. The way the attack works, say red is attacking blue here, you'll take the attack minus the defense. So in this case it would be -3. And then you roll the dice. If it's a positive number, you would take that damage done and you would update the marker to that damage. Here it's negative, so there's no damage. So there's been several battles, there's damage. On this one, when the amount of damage equals your defense, the ship can't fire until it's repaired. And if it's double this amount, then it's destroyed. We've accumulated the damage, and on this unit there's 4, so it's still functional. On this one, the defense is 6, 1 still functional. And I'd like to note here that, so this is in the Z plane it's at 0. This is at +2 in the Z plane. It's at a distance of 2, and since their weapon range is 2 or 3, they can hit each other. This one is taken 5. It has a defensive 4, so it can't fire next turn. And this one, 4, it's still okay. 6, 4 damage, still okay. And these haven't taken damage. This one is at the -2Z, and this is at +1Z. So I'm kind of moving them in the Z planes as well. So that one can fire. So a way to show that it can fire is then to just, flip it over so it's like it can't do an action or it's already done its action. As far as repair though, say you want to repair these. When eligible to attack, a ship or fortress may choose to repair itself. The number of damage points removed is equal to the effective defensive strength of that ship or fortress considered long, without AJC men. One thing I want to clarify here too, so the defensive score, so you have your printed score of your attack and defense, and as you get damage, this score decreases as well. So you get an effective defensive score. The effective defensive score of this unit is, the 6 minus 1/2 of the damage. So it'd be 6 minus, 2 in this case. So it's got less defense as its damage. You can repair as much as the effective defensive strength is. So in this case, since it's 4, you can repair 4 units, and that is that turn. This play then continues until, again, either the planet is destroyed or the intruders are destroyed. To destroy the planet then, the intruders have to survive, and the planet has 3 shields, and they each have a defense of 5, and they can't repair. When they go to 0, basically all 3 go to 0, the planet is destroyed. So that's WorldKiller, the game of planetary assault. For one thing, it's interesting, the cover art. SPI games, Outreach, and Star Force, they jump because of telekinesis capabilities of the crew, and my understanding is that only in their universe only females have that capability, so the crews are all female. And I think that is what this is showing here is, the female crew doing telekinesis. It doesn't say that in the rules, but that seems to imply that it's connected with the other games. And the time frame of this is consistent with Outreach. It'd be interesting if this could be viewed as kind of a tactical module to support that. I haven't seen any documentation that that's the case, but it does seem to be consistent. So that's just my thoughts. I mean, there's some interesting innovations. I like how they do damage, and I like the different options of movement. And I mean, it's 4 pages, but the actual rules themselves are pretty much 2 pages in that. And so it's like, very efficient. You can set it up different ways, so it's got a lot of replayability. I mean, I'm not super happy with the map. I wish it was like cardstock. I think I'll give it a 6.